I think we have an excellent program for you today. The genesis of this program comes from some work that several of us did in the area of sickle cell disease, where we had some experience that we saw some parallels with spinal cord injury. And specifically, we saw some challenges that many sponsors, many companies, many researchers had in common. And we wanted to bring together ostensibly competing companies or competing interests and bring them together over aligned pain points so that we could work together on things that we all wanted to achieve and find progress with, while keeping our, our personal ambitions, all kind of separate. And it worked beautifully. A highlight, I want to give you a specific example because it's not just like, oh, we should all work together. Like, that's semi-empty talk. But I want to give you a very specific example of how this works. A bunch of companies got together, working with thought leaders and so forth. And one of the things that we identified as an opportunity was to get sickle cell disease added to the priority review voucher program. So this is a very special, sort of complicated regulatory benefit that can pour money back into research for sickle cell disease. But sickle cell individuals they were not eligible for this special promotion, for this special policy. So all of these companies got together and worked together with the leaders in the field. And in 2016, President Obama signed a piece of legislation called the Advancing Hope Act into law. And that was a direct result, that adding that sickle cell patients, sickle cell disease as an eligible party to the priority review voucher program was the direct result of pulling a conference together and bringing groups together. So we said, let's try this in spinal cord injury, because spinal cord injury doesn't really have any meaningful therapeutics out there. There are very few choices. There's just not enough attention and knowledge in the space. Maybe we can contribute in the furtherance of that effort. So the problem is that while Lineage has a very interesting program in the space, we don't really have any history or experience or relationships. Right? We're working on a program that was owned by other companies, and we own it today, but we didn't really know anybody. So we sat down, Iwana, myself, and others, and we said, well, if someone in our life was affected by a spinal cord injury, what would we do? Where would we go? It's pretty easy. We said, the Christopher Reeve Foundation, right? That's the name, and if you don't know, that's what you think of. We said, why don't we approach the Christopher Reeve Foundation and see if they would be interested in collaborating with us on this program and this sort of new, sort of niche-y conference. And they said, great idea. And so we began working on this. And what was really cool about this is that allowed us to then not only rely on the Reeve Foundation for some introductions to people that we didn't know, but also kind of show that it was a collaborative and independent effort. So, we were introduced to and contacted the folks at AbbVie. And they're like, hey, that's a great idea. Sounds cool. We want to be part of that too. We're like, wow, that was easy, right? And it just, like the dominoes just kept falling, right? Everybody was like, yeah, we want to be part of this. And then we're like, okay, great. We've got half a dozen companies. Now, where do we go? It's like, we got to talk to some experts in the field and see if we can get some interesting topics. And so we talked about things like endpoints and, are endpoints good or bad? And how do you assess what matters to a patient? And we talked about, like, what are the history in the field? And what's been the successes? And what have been the failures and so forth? And we talked about a changing demographic of patients, because you can kind of work really hard and be like, all right, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm going to do. And then you learn that sort of the dynamic of the profile of the patient changes over time. And you're like, I'm behind that. Right? These are huge problems for folks working on new therapeutics, whether you're thinking about it at a very early stage or you're thinking about it late stage. And we had some challenges when we were designing this whole program. We're thinking about like, all right, how much of the sort of sim world and the biologics and the small molecules it's hard. We couldn't do everything, right? But I think what we ended up with is a fantastic group of folks ready and eager and excited to contribute to this event today. So thank you for taking a chance. Thank you for pioneering. Thank you for coming out here and being a part of this. We're really excited. We were joking internally about how well it had gone and describing to you about how well it had gone. And then we ran into our first problem today, which is the audio. But It's so undeserving. You've worked so hard on this. There's only patient engagement is only part of you on this job. She actually has this other full-time job, investor relations, but she has done so much work to make this happen, and most of you now know who she is and have forwarded with her. So before we go any further, I just want to say thank you. Incredible work to get this. So this is going to be exciting. I'm really excited. You can tell. We're going to have a great day. We're going to solve the audio problem, and then eventually we're going to solve all sorts of problems. So with that, I'm going to next invite Marco to come and give you some perspective and some introductory comments from the Reed Foundation. Please enjoy. Please network. Please talk with folks here. Please have a good time. Please, if you have any problems, call Luana, and she'll definitely be able to help solve that. So thank you so much. Welcome, enjoy. I look forward to talking with you all.